I had just stepped out of a marathon strategy meeting for a massive client pitch, the kind of meeting that leaves your head buzzing with figures, projections, and half-finished arguments. As I walked down the hallway, I grabbed my phone, expecting a routine update from my assistant or maybe a friend checking in. Instead, I saw a message from my mom. One single line. Either give your brother a share of your company and a house, or you're no longer part of this family. I stopped in my tracks, like someone had pulled the floor out from under me. My chest tightened so hard it felt like I couldn't breathe. I reread the text 4 times, waiting for some sort of clarification, maybe a joking follow-up, anything. But that was it. No context, no reasoning, no conversation. Just a demand dressed up as a threat, reducing my existence to what I could hand over. My hands tingled with that strange, cold rush of disbelief. I dropped onto the bench near the elevator, staring at my screen like it might rewrite itself if I blinked long enough. But the message stayed exactly the same. My own parents had decided that my success, something they never helped build, was not mine to keep unless I handed a portion of it to my brother, along with a luxury home like I was their personal ATM. Not a discussion, not even a request, an ultimatum. After everything I had put into my business, the sleepless nights, the sacrifice, the years of pushing through doubt, this was what I got in return. Their love tied to conditions, their approval tied to what they could extract from me. The betrayal settled into my gut like something sour. The humiliation came next. But underneath all of that, a strange clarity flickered alive. This wasn't love. It was ownership, control. And maybe, finally, it was time to stop letting them pull my strings. My mind drifted back through every step it had taken to get here. I hadn't grown up with privilege. I didn't come from a family that nurtured dreams or applauded ambition. I had 2 hands, a cheap laptop, and a vision only I believed in. When I first told my dad I wanted to start a company, he practically laughed in my face. "Nicole, you need a stable career, not risky nonsense." My mom didn't even bother offering an opinion, just a tight, dismissive smile that told me she was waiting for me to fail. So I built my dream on my own, worked 2 jobs, skipped birthdays, skipped holidays, skipped sleep. I ate microwave dinners while typing through tears. I missed out on normal life, trying to breathe life into a business everyone expected would collapse in 6 months. Meanwhile, my brother breezed through life like the world owed him a cushioned landing. He wasted money, floated through jobs, came home drunk, burned opportunities, and still they praised him like he was destined for greatness. He was their son. I was the shadow fixing everything they ignored. So when that ultimatum popped up on my phone, give him a part of what I built, buy him a house, or lose the family, I wasn't shocked. Not really. I was just tired. Tired of carrying the weight of unspoken expectations. Tired of being the daughter held to standards he never had to meet. Tired of begging for a place at a table they kept pulling away. Even as a child, the rules were different. If he scraped by with a C, Mom called him a hard worker. If I came home with an A-, she wanted to know what went wrong. When he totaled his car at 19, Dad laughed and said, "Boys make mistakes." When I came home 15 minutes late, I got a full week of grounding. He was allowed to stumble. I had to be perfect. I still remember the day I won a statewide competition. I brought home an award I'd poured months of work into. They barely glanced away from the TV. "That's nice," Mom said. No hug, no pride. But when my brother landed an unpaid internship, they threw a dinner party like he'd been accepted into NASA. So, when their message told me to hand over a piece of my company, my blood, my sweat, my years, or be cut off, it wasn't surprising. It was familiar. Too familiar. And that familiarity burned more than the threat. Something hardened inside me. Not anger, not heartbreak. Something cleaner, something precise. I wasn't going to let them bully me through a screen. I needed to confront them face to face, to make them see that the version of me they kept in their minds no longer existed. I drove straight to my parents' house, the same house where I learned to shrink so my brother could stretch. My heels echoed through the hallway, each step steadying the storm building inside me. They were all there, in the living room, Dad pretending to read, Mom scrolling her phone, and my brother sprawled across the couch like a prince awaiting tribute. I didn't sit. I didn't lower my voice. I stood tall and said, "This isn't love. This is control." Mom lifted her head first. "Sweetheart, don't blow this out of proportion. We just want what's fair." That word made heat rise up my spine. "Fair," I repeated. "You weren't there when I slept in my car to save money. You weren't there when I had panic attacks from stress. You didn't support me when I built everything I own. And now you want to slice off a part of it for him like you baked it yourselves?" Dad's tone sharpened immediately. That familiar warning, "Watch your tone, he's your brother." Family shares. Family supports, I countered. Family helps. Family doesn't demand bribes and call it fairness. My brother couldn't resist adding his voice. "Wow, Nicole, still dramatic. You always make everything about you." Dramatic. Of course. Because standing up for myself was always the problem, not the way they stepped on me. "You honestly think I owe you something?" I asked him. "You've coasted every year of your life. Meanwhile, I built something from scratch with no one behind me." "You're selfish," my mom snapped. "And if you walk out right now, don't bother coming back." And that was the truth laid bare. Conditional love, conditional acceptance, conditional belonging. And I realized I had spent years begging for a version of affection they never offered freely. I straightened my back, looked at each of them one last time, and said, "I'm done being part of a family that only loves me when it's convenient." Then I walked out. No shouting, no tears, just freedom settling into my bones. That night I sat alone in my apartment, letting the quiet wrap around me. No music, no background noise, just the hum of the city and the echo of everything that had happened. Their words replayed in my head. The coldness, the judgment, the entitlement, my mother's bitterness, my father's disappointment, my brother's smug entitlement. It looped like a song I didn't want to hear but couldn't turn off. My gaze drifted around my office, my sanctuary, shelves lined with product prototypes, whiteboards full of goals. The framed photo of 22-year-old me holding the keys to my first workspace, the laminated receipt of my first $42 sale, proof of every step I'd climbed alone. And still, beneath all the accomplishment, I felt that ache. The ache of the girl who always wanted them to say they were proud of her. The ache of being unseen, unheard, unvalued by the people who were supposed to love her first. The truth hit me quietly, like something inside finally giving way. I curled onto the couch and let the tears fall, not out of defeat, but release. Because I finally understood something I should have known long ago. I didn't need their approval. I needed peace. I needed to stop begging for love with strings attached. I needed to stop proving myself to people who chose not to see my worth. I needed to reclaim myself from their expectations, from their manipulations, from that twisted version of family they kept trying to sell me. I poured a glass of wine, sat by the window, and stared out into the night. The city lights blinked like stars trapped on Earth. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel small under them. I felt steady. I felt real. And right then, I made a promise to myself. No more shrinking, no more silence, no more giving just to be tolerated. I was done letting anyone, even blood, dim the light. I nearly lost everything to ignite. The next morning, I didn't cry. I didn't hesitate. I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in years, maybe ever. It was like something in me had finally clicked. I wasn't going to plead anymore. I wasn't going to argue. I was going to protect what I built, and I was going to do it smart. First, I called my lawyer. I'd hired him once before when I was setting up my business, but this time the call felt different. This wasn't just about legal advice. This was about reclaiming control, about securing everything I had spent years pouring my soul into. I want to tighten everything, I told him, reinforce the structure, lock down the assets, revise ownership protections, and I want to set up a trust, effective immediately. He didn't ask questions, he just said, "Got it, let's get to work." And we did. In the span of 1 week, I restructured every corner of my business, transferred critical holdings into a trust with my name as the sole beneficiary, updated my living will, removed my family from all fallback designations, and created backup plans within backup plans. My empire wasn't just secure, it was bulletproof. Now they wouldn't get a single piece of it. Not out of entitlement, not out of manipulation, not because of some twisted family duty. Not anymore. Then, once everything was in place, I sat down with a pen and a single sheet of paper. No emotion, no rants, just truth. I wrote, "Mom, Dad, you made your choice loud and clear. You chose to support a son who has never worked for anything over a daughter who bled, cried, and fought her way to stability. You gave me an ultimatum, and now I'm giving you my response. I will not hand over what I built, I will not reward entitlement, and I will not stay in a family that treats love like leverage. This isn't revenge. It's a boundary, effective immediately. I'm stepping away. No contact, no drama, just silence. Take care." I signed it, folded it, sealed the envelope, and mailed it. No message, no heads up, just a clean, final goodbye tucked in a plain white envelope. There was something unbelievably freeing about it. I didn't wait for a response. I didn't need one. I knew they'd read it. And for the first time, they'd realize that I wasn't bluffing, that their control over me had expired. When you stop reacting, people start listening. When you stop explaining, they panic. And when you stop giving them access to your peace, it hits different. I didn't post online, I didn't call anyone for validation, I simply moved forward. And the silence that followed, it was beautiful. No guilt text, no fake apologies, just the quiet that comes from burning a bridge you were never meant to cross again. I stood in my office that evening, barefoot, sipping coffee, staring at the framed quote on my wall. She remembered who she was, and the game changed. That was me now, no longer seeking permission, no longer shrinking. They gave me an ultimatum, I gave them consequences. And for once in my life, I felt powerful. Not because I fought back, but because I walked away. I knew it would cause a stir. I just didn't expect how big the explosion would be. 3 days after I mailed the letter, the fallout began. First came the digital tantrum from my brother, of course. He posted a dramatic rant on Facebook, the kind where he played the victim while pretending to take the high road. It started with, "Sometimes people forget who was there for them when they had nothing," and ended with, "Family should be about giving, not just taking." The irony? He had never given anything in his life but opinions no one asked for. I didn't comment. I didn't even open the comments. But a mutual friend screenshot it and sent it to me with a single line. "He's spiraling." Then came my mom. She called 4 times in 1 hour. When I didn't answer, she left a voicemail that started sweet, turned manipulative, and ended explosive. "Nicole, I raised you better than this. You're being cold. You're being selfish. Your brother is hurting and all you can think about is yourself. Do you want to destroy this family?" There it was again, love dressed up as guilt. I didn't respond. Instead, I got a message from my aunt, then another from a cousin I hadn't spoken to in years. Paragraphs upon paragraphs. "Families fight, Nicole, but we don't throw each other away. You only get one mother, you know. This is just a phase. You'll come around." They all echoed the same chorus. Forget, fall back in line. But here's the thing. No one seemed to understand. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't bitter. I was done. Done being the bigger person while they acted small. Done from earning my place in a family that never offered me unconditional love. Done being gaslit into thinking boundaries meant betrayal. So I stayed quiet until I didn't. One morning, while sipping my coffee outside my office, I asked my assistant to snap a quick photo. No makeup, no filters, just me standing tall, soft smile, sun hitting my face. I posted it on my personal page with one caption: "Peace looks good on me." That was it. No backstory, no drama, but people got it. The likes rolled in, the comments poured. Old friends, clients, even strangers chimed in. Good for you. This kind of peace is earned. I felt this in my soul. It wasn't about going viral. It was about being seen. The internet, so often a cruel place, understood me better than my own family did. And maybe that's what hurt the most, that strangers could offer compassion while the people who raised me only ever offered conditions. My brother, he deleted his post within hours. My mom, she texted, "So this is what you've become, a public embarrassment?" I left her on read because yes, this is what I've become. A woman who no longer begs to be respected. A daughter who finally chose self-worth over silence. And while the group chats lit up and the whispers spread, I just kept living. No chaos, no retaliation, just peace. That's what they never saw coming. Not the distance, not the silence, the calm. Because I wasn't trying to prove anything anymore. They thought cutting me off would destroy me, but it only revealed who I was without their noise. Stronger, clearer, whole. Let them gossip. Let them spin their narratives. I wasn't part of that story anymore. I was writing a new one, where I didn't have to fight to exist. And damn, it felt good. Time has a strange way of softening edges. Months passed, the noise faded, the messages slowed. Eventually, the family group chat that once buzzed like a hornet's nest went silent. No more ultimatums, no more guilt trips, just nothing. And for the first time in my life, that silence didn't feel lonely. It felt like freedom. I traveled places I dreamed of but never made time for. Italy, Bali, a little cabin in Vermont during the fall. I hiked mountains, ate alone in candlelit restaurants, laughed out loud at old rom-coms in hotel rooms. I stopped waiting for anyone else to say, "You've done well." I started saying it to myself. More than that, I found purpose in new places. I started mentoring young women, not with big speeches or business jargon, but by sitting across from them at Warren Cafe tables and saying, "You can start from nothing." I did. Some of them cried. Some of them brought notebooks full of ideas. All of them reminded me why I built my business in the first place, not just to prove something, but to build something that matters. And slowly, I stopped feeling like the daughter who'd been cast out. I became the woman who chose herself. One night, I was on a quiet balcony in Greece. Warm breeze, glass of wine, a soft jazz playlist in the background. I watched the sun dip below the sea and felt this calm come over me that I hadn't felt in years. That's when it hit me. I didn't just protect my company, I protected my soul. I drew a line and didn't cross it. I didn't scream, I didn't beg, I just walked away. And in doing that, I gave myself the kind of peace no one else ever offered me. As for my family, I wish them healing. I truly do. I hope one day they see how much damage entitlement and manipulation can cause. I hope my brother learns how to build something on his own. I hope my parents understand that love isn't measured by how well someone obeys, but by how well they're respected. But I won't be there to witness it because some wounds don't need revenge. They just need distance. I don't stalk their social media. I don't ask about them. I don't carry bitterness in my chest. I just don't carry them at all anymore.
My story didn't end the day they tried to cut me out. It began. And now I live it with clarity, joy, and a kind of strength I never knew I had. They tried to make me choose between my family and my worth, but in choosing myself, I didn't lose a family. I found me, and that was the best gift I ever gave myself. And there you have it, Nicole's journey from being torn apart by family expectations to finding her true self. It's a painful truth that sometimes the people we love can be the ones who hold us back the most. But it's also a powerful reminder that the only person we owe our happiness to is ourselves. Nicole could have stayed, could have apologized, could have played the role they wanted her to. But she chose peace over pain. She chose her own worth, and in doing so, she learned that the most freeing thing in life is realizing that you don't need anyone's approval but your own. Let this be a lesson to you all. Never let anyone dictate your value. You deserve the life you create, and if it means walking away from toxic people to build that life, then so be it. If you found inspiration in Nicole's story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more empowering stories. And hey, drop a comment below. Have you ever had to choose your peace over family loyalty? How did you find the strength to do it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and remember, you're worth more than anyone's expectations. Keep choosing